Welcome back. I'm AM Reaper. This is DMT, Journey of the Infant Mind. What we're here today to talk about is a 30mg hit of DMT, so to speak, crystal DMT, and a good breakthrough dose of that. Alright then, so we'll get into it. Now, just a few prompts here. Safety first. Anyone who's going to do these things, make sure you do it safely. Don't be silly. Use a scale, know your stuff. Watch a few of the previous videos and you'll see a bit of that. Don't be on other drugs or anything like that. Make sure medications, SSRIs, different antidepressant medications, those sort of things don't mix well. Make sure you don't pump yourself full of coffee just before you go. Just give it a bit of a break. It's going to, elevate your heart rate. So drugs like nicotine and coffee that elevate your heart rate to start with, probably just stay away from it for a couple of hours before you blast off. Get stuck into them afterwards plenty of time. So I make these for harm reduction and your information. I do enjoy making them because I don't really have anyone to talk about these things with, and some of the people that you need to know the information I don't get to talk to, so to speak, or would like to know some information. And as I said before, I'm just trying to give a real look at this, and instead of hyping it all up to what it's not, just sort of saying from my experience what it is. And then like in a few videos down the track, next series we're going to talk about how the visions are created in the brain, and that, and we'll sort of debate on what's what. But for now, and this will be a level 5 trip, so 5mg per kilogram, using the herb sandwich method in a marijuana bong, so to speak, as you can. So your herb, your product and your herb, so it doesn't burn the top of it, like I've explained before. 30 plus, and there it is, pure crystal DMT. That's not the stuff, not that stupid, to show pictures, that sort of stuff. Rightio, so I had no idea what I was going to go on. Once again, I've got my book here. I was just going to read a little bit from it. I'll try and read clearly enough so everyone can hear what's going on, and we'll get to it and see how we go. Alright then, just bear with me. Hope it's not a little too boring for you, anything like that. We'll just see how we go. Alright then, turn that off so it doesn't interrupt anything. Alright then, AM Repeat, 30mg trip DMT, plus it's about 32 crystal DMT, sandwich method in a bong. Just for shits, just for educational purposes. We'll see how this goes. I don't condone any use of drugs in any manner. It's strictly just hearsay, they say. Alright then, let's have a go. What is it? Aim to experience if the other could be a dream. It's a wonder what the dream state is. Subject: pure N-methyl crystals. Method: 30 plus milligrams sandwich method, MJ bong. Scale. So we use scales to weigh, obviously. Results: I was only intending on a prep. Rightio, so here we are, we're about to fire it up. I was only intending on a preparation look before a large dose. I was surprised with the results. Some large crystals in the mix. Inhaled, held for 22 seconds, exhaled, laid back. As I closed my eyes, I noticed I was starting to move. I felt and looked eyes open, like I was sitting, like where I was sitting was starting to propel me forward. As I closed my eyes, a couple of seconds later the body buzz came on, and my vision was filled with nicely paced fractal geometry and pictures of all sorts of strange symbols. Just as that was starting, I felt myself being uplifted out of my chair. Up, up, up. I was going further than the previous time. And it is a scary to start with, but comfortable feeling after you settle. Yeah, first time you sort of feel these things, you feel your body move and it feels real as real. You freak out, get high. So what happened is I took this stuff in and blew it out, as that says there. And I just started feeling a bit woozy with my eyes open. And you feel the body bars come on, and then I did actually open my eyes, and it was almost like I was rocking. I could feel myself rocking. It was like my vision was rocking at the same time. And basically, it feels like my chair was sort of pendulum, sort of rocking. And then I felt myself start to pick up and lift up and up and up. And the height sort of worried me. It felt like I was getting really high. Don't really like heights, so it sort of worried me a bit. But then you settle down and calmed once you realise you're not going to fall. Where was I? The book's a bit messy. That's why it's hard to read slow light. All right. A couple of seconds later, the body buzz came on, while my vision was filled with nicely paced fractal geometry and pictures of all sorts of strange symbols. Just as that was starting, I felt myself being uplifted out of my chair, up, further than I've read this bit, for further than present time, and is it scary to start with, a comfortable feeling after you settle. While still travelling upwards, you feel yourself rotate forward, so you go up forwards from your only sitting position at liftoff to facing downwards, still going upwards. Once you feel face down, you notice it's like all visions are like you are looking down on the world of fractals. And then you feel yourself go through a transitional stage. You notice all visual change to like a chaotic frequency wave. This space layer is visual and as well as physical. You feel the fractal change as you pass through the layer backwards, facing down, and you see out of your peripheral vision, so to speak, frequency waves of chaotic nature. And then that's all you can see, and then bam. So what I'm explaining there is you lift it out of your chair, and you feel yourself go up, and then as you go up, you get there and you bend over. So you stand up and you hunch over like this, and you actually pass through this layer. So you're watching all these fractal patterns and pictures and swirls and all this stuff getting chaotic after you've closed your eyes. Your blackness surrounds in, and then you're sort of watching all this stuff fuzz around. And then all of a sudden, you feel yourself lift up. But that vision that you were there, that sort of you haven't changed, is now looking down that way, because you feel like you've gone up and you're bending over, and your vision's down there, and then all of a sudden you see all these layers of frequency waves and different sort of grid looking stuff come out the side of your visions, and you pass through it, and when you pass through it you feel it, and then you sort of go through it all, and then those visions you can see them going down, and all that side, all those frequency waves, so you feel yourself basically pass through this layer, and then all of a sudden you just flip over and go bang, and then she's off. So you go through, so yeah, rightio, here we go. I'm just sort of reading some misbits. You see the fractals change, you pass through them, yep, and then bam, you're up standing in a total different reality, world, and it is more bewildering, beautiful, CGI graphics, grids everywhere, 3D, 4D, morphing, symbols, huge structures, etc. Then you could ever imagine. It's so complex, structured, alien, but worldly, overwhelming to see or experience these places. It's unfathomable, but it's possible. When I appeared in this reality, it was almost computer graphics. It's not like anything a real vision or a dream. It's completely different. This place was the place I visited previously, but I appeared outside a vast city-like landscape. This is the blackness going up through, then you break through. And you get mega body pressures, and you feel that everything's fairly intense. You just think yourself, just breathe, you know. And there's the grid-like structures. And then what happens next? Yeah. Then what happens next is you sort of like go into, you know, you pass into this, and you see the structures, you see the grids come up. For me, and then this is a picture I drew here. I'll just click to another screen for a sec. You might be able to see the picture bigger. And this one here, I don't know what the voice is like or the level of the microphone is like in this one, but anyway, see here, sort of draw, that's the blackness of your own vision, so to speak. Here's the blackness of, whoops, did I do that? Get out of that, you silly boy. Where's the undo button there? So there's the blackness of your own vision, so to speak, on the sides here, and then, you know, here we are, this is the gridded world that comes out the blackness, so you see, I think it all starts to come out, and you go, oh shit, in you go. And then this one here, I'll leave this one on the screen and I'll talk about this. I'll just read the trivia here. So when it appeared in this reality, it's almost computer graphics. It's not like anything like a real vision or a dream. It's completely different. This place was the place I visited previously, but I appeared outside a vast city-like landscape. Bright white, it was gridded. Every building was a grid. The floor and sky of this world were the same, all grid. I saw these enormous city skylines and then travelled towards it. So I just saw it just grid, and then you just see this skyline in the distance. Thinking, what's that? What's going on here? You just go forward and forward and forward. It comes towards you, and then it's separated. And I noticed that there was a really tall side and short side, and here this is a sort of result of it. Down here is a result of it down here. It sort of came up on this gridded, two horizons arose. Grids came up. Then all these grids, city or the skyline appeared, and it was tiny, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, like it was flying towards it, and then it parted, and then it went down the middle of it. And this is what happened. The landscape bright white, it was gridded everywhere, every building was grid, the floor of the sky, sea sky, and travelled towards it. I then found myself being taken down a very long street with huge buildings on my left, similar ones on the right, with various structures, poles, morphing faces on them. Every one of those squares on that pitch there, every one of these squares was filled with a symbol, spinning and morphing and morphing and spinning. And there's like a big valley here. This was like the whole city was like suspended. But at the bottom of that canyon, so to speak, there was more grids. In the sky, there was more grids. It was really strange. There's me. And when I first got into these places, I looked up, and when I looked up, the buildings were like freaking huge. They were crazily big. They were stupidly big. Like it was just out there. We can see if we go back and look, but gee, that sucks how that does that. But anyway, all cool. So there's the grids, and the building comes up. The buildings come out of here, come out of the middle. And that's what's like you pop into these places. There's the buildings. So when I got into this place, I stood up and I looked up, and the buildings were enormous. They were absolutely mind-bogglingly huge. They were stupid, and that sort of worried me. But and as I was travelling through these places, there's all these different things, and there's a guy standing down the end of the corner down here, and there's all these poles and different stuff, but I mean, I couldn't draw it, it was too intricate. This is just a basic description. So here I appeared and went down here. I remember this little thing jumping from here to here to here to here. And I thought to myself, that was a bit like Mario. You know, Mario and Luigi. I thought, this is all bullshit. This is just fucking playing with my mind, this stuff. And I was a little bit annoyed, so to speak. Not annoyed, but I was a bit disappointed. I thought, this is wow. You know, but it wasn't. Upon closer inspection, I noticed it was nothing like, say, Mario or Luigi. It was just like, I got no idea what it was. Yeah. There's so much going past, so I travelled down the street. I just can't remember yet what it all was. It's annoying, but everything is so chaotically fast you can't possibly pinpoint attention to one thing, because as you do, it all changes. But the main street was still the same. But I was travelling south, and now you could see a gap on my right hand side between the large buildings. As I approached the gap, I was also noticed the street had an intersection coming up. So basically here's the gap. I got down here and I thought, oh shit, there's an intersection. As I got to the gap in between the buildings, I could see in the distance a strange octopus plant looking thing. This thing over here. No idea what this thing was. It was bloody, this thing here. Don't know why it's going up in school. Oh yeah, right, yeah. I'll get rid of that over here like this. Don't know why it's on there. I don't want to do it, I just want to draw, you bastards. As you can tell, I don't know how to use this shit, so we'll just get out of that. You bloody idiot. No. Gee whiz. Oh, but anyway. Yeah. Don't say that. I think we'll get out of that. Yeah. But I'll just quickly find that picture again because we might need that. And we'll just go back into here. There we go. Geometry 24. And where is it? There it is. Go back in there. Sorry about that. Since I'm no expert. We're not here to be experts though. Really have a bit of a chat and have a look at this. Just increase the size a little bit. There we go. So as I was saying, I got to here, realised there's this bloody looking plant, octopus looking weird thing over here, like everything's silver and highly shiny and reflective with all this bloody symbols and shit jumping around everywhere. I mean, you're standing in these places and you can look up, you can look down, you can look backwards, you can look forward, you can look around. Like, it's not like you're just sitting there watching it, it's fully immersive. Anyway, I got around to this plant. Right. Strange plant looking object, very large, waving its arms all about in a pot, bath type reservoir on its own platform in a magically beautiful green, gold, blue and purple. At this point, I was fixated on this as the intersection approached. I turned left and was taken before this plant octopus thing. I admired its beauty for a few moments, and then as I was admiring it, I started asking myself, DMT, is this real? So I asked this plant thing, I was standing there and it almost seemed intelligent, I know what was going on, so I asked it a question. I was a bit bewildered, so I said, yeah, I'll read exactly how I wrote it. DMT, this thing, yeah. Is this place just a dream or a figment of my imagination? Or is this place real? And the answer was, look at what you have just endured. Look at what you went through, the transition. Was that not real? Look where you are. Are you not experiencing this? I was just going, why is just going, what? At this point, I understood my answer and was content with it all. It's all spoken telepathically, so I don't know if it's self-realization or something else. Either way, it seems knowledgeable on these subjects. I know this sounds crazy, but the experience is something else. Yeah, you just don't know if it's yourself talking to yourself. It's not, it's just weird. You don't think it is, but it could be. But it's just real strange. So I've asked this thing, is this place real? What's going on? Is this just a real joke or what's going on? It just says, look at what you have just endured. Look at what you just went through, the transition. Was that not real? Look where you are. Are you not experiencing this? It's a weird thing. It's hard to make stuff like that up in your mind. Probably, in a way. It's not the way I usually think and word myself. Anyway, back to what we're doing. So we've asked this thing a question, spun the boat bejesus out. And we thought, what? Yeah, something else. Either way, it seemed knowledgeable on the subject. As I said, it's crazy experience is something else. After I had my realisation, I felt a tremendous PSI on my face. On DMT, you feel anaesthetised at the least. And in my sinuses. At the point, I was only just realising how much body weight I was experiencing. At that same point, I was ejected back into the second stage of DMT. I wasn't aware I'd gone so far until I left the first place, the city, and was just then floating around in the blackness, looking at the millions of alien-looking symbols and fractal patterns in geometry. Still heavily sedated, Swim T held my hand, and the PSI in my sinus must have looked uncomfortable, and the feelings was more comfortable knowing she was there. Funny thing is, I could tell the whole time what she was feeling. Strange and hard to explain. When Swim T, who's my wife, took my hand, and I then and after that could sense her emotions. While the second phase of the trip, it was weird. Yeah, it's weird. I spent a few minutes wallowing in this space, amazed at what had happened and how intense it was. And at one point, my heart and brain and every cell in my body reached melting point, and I thought at the time, I must be a little run down. Glad I didn't smoke anymore. DMT is very intense. It's undescribable. It's unimaginable. It can be very dangerous. Not for real death, but caution for the mind, the heart and brain. Then I felt the PSI sensation lift off again. I was talking about the 3 pressure sensations and sometimes 4 with contaminated spice that you get. This time less intense, and I realised I was on my way home. On my way home. Yeah. So we'll go back to the other screen. We're out of this place now. See we are. Yeah, just go back through to where we were. Sorry about the crack reduction, but I hope you're listening to what I'm saying about the trip. There's a big building in there. There's that plan thing. I asked you questions and I'm thinking, what? Yes, I have a question. What the fuck? That's just like you're going, what the fuck? Yeah, I suppose the fallout back into the blackness. Back into the lines, the fractals, the colours. Yeah, I'll just read what I wrote here. Third stage of the trip is where you realise back to yourself and you can open your eyes back to reality. I did, and I looked at Swim T. I opened my eyes too early. She'd just wait. I could see a golden morphing scribe under her skin and under the paint on the ceiling. I looked at the TV cabinet. It was moving left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left. I said a bit of eye wobble. With a purple and blue aura around it. Yeah, when you come out of DMT, you're too early and you haven't sort of, you're still in there too much. Everything's got a blue hue to it, and your eyes would find it hard to sort of fathom what's going on. It's a bit hard to sort of integrate the 2 different sort of realities in one thing, or what. Yeah, so you've got to wait a bit longer till it wears off. TV cabinet was morphing left to right, with purple aura around it. I also still felt my chair levitating for a few minutes and was completely out of it, so I still feel myself floating. Usually it's not that bad when you open your eyes, but I should have just sat back and relaxed for another 5 minutes and enjoyed the last stage visuals. But lately, on the intense experiences, I tend to arise out of it too early and cause myself bewilderment and confusion. Obviously, sometimes everything needs to be played as it is, not as it seems. DMT is unpredictable in the most sense of the word. So next time, I'll wait until it completely wears off before trying to be normal in this reality. Still stuck a little in the other, doesn't mix very well. Conclusion writes, a better trip a better trip with a better setting. There was no swim JZ like last time. Went a fair way. Was happy with the results. Realization. Mentally it was fairly intense. Visually it was intense. Body load was fairly large. Breathing was heavy. The experience was long. Next time 5 milligrams more, so about 38 milligrams to 40. I imagine it will be too much, as in a way too scary and chaotic. This trip was chaotic and intense enough, but not much fear compared to the last breakthrough. I was happy with this trip, assuming the dosage related. The content intense dose is about 27 milligrams, so I continue to explore. What it says on here, what I'm supposed to be smoking is 26 milligrams by the spirit molecule. You know, the most that's me whiz-bam experience, but as I find, I mean, this is a pretty wow experience. This is 32 milligrams of crystal DMT smoked in one breath, held in, smoked 100% properly. Yeah, so away I've gone, but it gets a lot more intense than this. Yeah, and you're not looking at this, as I said, you're actually in it. You're not before you get through the other side, you're looking at it, but when you get there, you're in it. Even though when you want to say you're looking at it, it feels like it's all enclosing and everywhere. When you actually go into the other place, you're actually in there. You can, as I said, you can look around, you can look behind you and stuff. Not that you sometimes do, but I've had trips where you can actually look around, as strange as that sounds. But anyway, let's see what the next screen shows. Yeah, just got some pictures that sort of scrub. You go through the one grid into the next, so it looks like a time portal. Yeah, and when you come back, it's like, woo, I'm alive. Yeah, there we go. Flower of life. So it's like when you're coming back, you know, you see things in the blackness, all sorts of different stuff. So thanks guys, thanks for watching. Hope it wasn't too boring. Hope I didn't. It's hard to read. The book's a bit confusing. I mean, when you smoke big and you have a trip like this on DMT, well, it is fairly bewildering and it's hard to put words to it. And when you do put words to it, it's hard to read it back. Yeah, in a way. So leave us a comment down the bottom. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you've got any questions. If you've got any questions, send me an email. Email DMT, JOTIM@gmail.com. Just send us one. So if you've got any questions, just let us know. Gmail. And yeah, give us a subscribe, guys. The more I can get, the better. As in a way, it's nice for me to know that people are enjoying what I'm doing or connecting with people. Right then. These substances are illegal. They're highly illegal. Didn't really realise that when I was doing these years ago. It's okay now, I can talk about illegal things. I'm not doing illegal things, but anyway. So be careful, don't go out and run around and grab this stuff. I mean, make sure you look at the laws in your own area before you go incriminating yourself and doing silly things. I'm just here to try and educate you guys. I've just noticed that lately on the internet in the last year or so, it's everywhere, ayahuasca, DMT, spiritual awakening, everyone wants to be awoken and all this sort of stuff, which is cool, but you just got to take it a bit easy and look at it a little bit different. We all go through the silly phase of it, the honeymoon phase of it, so to speak, but then the realisation kicks in. You don't see very many people have had over, well, some of the amount of trips that I've had, or up around, you know, near 100 trips of DMT, so to speak. I've had that many, but you see guys when you do a lot of research that have, and they're a lot of the hype's gone out of it for them, put it that way. They're more real about it than hypey. So DMT is scary, it'll scare the shit out of you. Even a trip like this will scare the shit out of you if you're not used to it. If you had something like to start with. Yeah, when you come back, it's all good and shit and giggles and the bloke's laughing, but in the intensity of the middle of the experience, it's pretty bloody chaotic. Alright? Pretty traumatic. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. And I've got some better trip videos coming up with some bigger doses and some pretty spun out stuff. But that was pretty spun out, you know. Up out of the chair, you feel yourself flying, you feel yourself picked up, out you go, you roll over, you get yourself go through this film, and you can watch it, you can physically see it, and you can physically feel it. You pop into this place, you fly over and you're back, you're like seduced, and then the city pops up out of this grid, and you sort of see it in the distance, and then you fly towards it, and then you come up on the city, and then it parts, and then you sort of go down the city, and you're looking up at the buildings, you're looking around everywhere, and you're sort of going down this place, and you see this big looking octopus, spun out looking bloody organism thing doing its own thing. So you go around there. All meanwhile, every square on that page that I showed has got something jumping through every window. It's just a madness. And then you go and have a chat with something and you're not even sure if it's real or not or what the hell's going on. And then you fall out and away you go, and you zoom back into mushy LSD land sort of thing for a while and relax. Make sure you sit in the chair for a while and open your eyes and think, what was that all about? Yeah, that's after you go, thank God I'm alive again. Awesome. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm AM Reaper. Cheers, guys. Till next time, take it easy, be safe, look after yourselves, but enjoy yourselves. Alright, catch you guys.